Hello, welcome to F.A.L.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T podcast episode 115. I am a running shark. It's a futile fall showdown and all found in 25 songs going to head to head. We are somehow still in round two thanks to annotated for few and all them what fall BNT. Don't know what that means. Bonkers in Phoenix versus HostileLight / Fireworks versus ServiceLucifer over Lancashire versus Bournemouth runner. Joined by Pip Rugby, completely blind are the Sentinel's eyes. How are you, Philip?
Nice line. I'm feeling neo-catechumenal. How about you, Matt?
That would be an ecumenical matter. And at Lord Sage Temple, the blackbirds shake the hedges. How are you? Are you there, Ezra?
My marrow is shaking because I've got a point of order that I have to broach before we go any further, which is this horrible situation we find ourselves in where recently we're just letting songs go through. It's meant to be a tournament and then we have a song versus a song and then somehow we can't I guess it's basically split evenly. And then it's like, okay, well, we're keeping them both in until the next round. And I've got to just say that I am very much against
Testify,
this.
Ezra. Testify.
It's a semi-informed opinion, Ezra, which is good. Always good to
I'd have to agree. I mean, I'd have to agree. It's going to go on for so many years as it is that to actually omit the process of cutting songs out is going to just add even more years to the process.
I hear your arguments.
There's solutions here. I've suggested Rochambeau for it, and nobody's taking us up on it yet.
It's happened to two songs. Let's calm down, gentlemen. And the irony is, Ezra, had you voted, it would not have happened. So let that be a lesson.
I'm talking about building walls with, dry stone walls with toenails.
I know. It's our life. And also Alistair's with us. But also we've got a guest. Max is back. How you doing, Max?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
I bought, just in case anyone thought I was making it up.
Hey, he's brought it, yeah.
Already hoodie there.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's turned you into an invisibility cloak now.
Right.
Yeah, so you got the T-shirt from Era Aurori, but from the original political Italian movement, not from the Fall. Is that right? Or is it a Fall T-shirt?
Well, what happened was me and my friend Toby were interrailing in 1992 and we were in Venice and we saw that poster and we were both massive Fall fans. We were basically in a Fall tribute band at that point.
Ah, right.
And we were like, oh my God, it must be where they got the idea from because the video is in Venice, right? Yeah. So we always thought, well, he must have been in Venice on tour and he's seen that poster and thought, oh, that's cool, Ori, and it's kind of turned into a song. Yeah. So we always assumed that was the original inspiration. And so I nicked one of the posters, or we both did actually. And then I sort of lost touch with them over the years, but he got in touch with me again on Facebook recently and sent me a hoodie. I said he obviously had 2 copies done of it and send me one of them. So that's it.
Oh, that's awesome.
This sounds like a gentleman that should be guesting on our show very soon, but fantastic. You're a lucky man, man. Yeah. You're a lucky man. What do we need to know about this Fall tribute band?
Well, I'd say tribute band. We were in a band together and we did what we called an EP quotes, which was basically a tape with 4 Fall covers on it. We did Jawbone and the Air Rifle, the Steak Place, weirdly. I can't remember what the other 2 were off the top of my head.
Very nice. Does the tape still exist?
In somebody's loft, probably.
All right. We will wait patiently. Sooner or later, we'll get our hands on that lost gem.
I would like to hear it again.
Yeah. Well, before we crack on with the main event, we're going to take a detour.
Alistair's just as he shoves his face full of toast.
Alistair's shoving his face full of vegan sausage roll. But what have you got for us this morning, Alistair?
Future and past with a full mouth.
I've seen that video. Made in Germany, isn't it?
If anybody can guess what it is.
I'll play a few songs and let's see if anyone can guess what it is. Oh, it doesn't change the pitch, does it? Ooh. All right.
I like the name for it, though.
whiskey neat. She gets in a fight and she might get beat. So I go round on the Sunday night and ask her if she feels alright. Rosetta, are you better? Are you well? Are all aboard? Many more of them live next door, and the band begins to play. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. We all live
Terrifying. What are we doing here, Alistair? Please explain yourself.
Well, it's the futures and passing. We normally get into sort of like stuff that will influence the fall. With this, it's like the similarities there. And I think there's a song we're going to feature today, which might have been a bit of an influence. But yeah, the similarities, they do like loads of LPs, but it'd be different musicians on each one because they were complete bastards that you couldn't work with. But yeah, I got into these anthropomorphic puppet pigs when I was probably about 3 or something like that, and I used to have an old Dansette record player with a copy of Pinky and Perky's Hit Parade 2, which got completely worn down, but it was a lot of fun playing it at different speeds because I had 78 setting on there as well. But yeah, apparently they're Czech immigrants. And going back to the fall thing today, probably a bit of a coincidence, but maybe not. The baby elephant, which is one of Pinky and Perky's friends, is called Bonkers. Oh, yes.
Coincidence?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe it was them sort of like, doing a bit of precog.
Exactly. Line up for the vegan sausage rolls.
I thought the Fall connection was going to be the different musicians on every album thing.
Yeah, the Fall connection. Fall connection was that.
The ice cream man.
Just think how low that dude's voice must have been for it still to sound like that.
So far you played Rosetta, which is like brilliant. So you listen to the lyrics.
That's it. Keep it together.
It's like somebody who drinks a whiskey neat goes out as a fight, and it's somebody calling round the next day, seeing if she's all right.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
That first one that you played just then sounded kind of like The Residents when it started, I think, in that second playlist.
I think it's The Residents, but further out, though.
Yeah.
I
think Pinky and Perky must have been an influence on The Residents.
Oh yeah, easy. Like the Chipmunks as well. They were rivals, right? It was gangland warfare at times down there.
They were on the same label at one point, though. I think the first Pinky and Perky LP was on Columbia. So label mates there.
Was it the same actor singers doing it throughout the career? Was it various?
John Pertwee.
Was it really Pertwee?
It wasn't Pertwee.
You're just making that up, weren't you?
Pertwee adjacent.
We're just lying.
Pertwee adjacent.
There's not that many people can sing that high, to be fair.
No. It's very good.
There was an actor out there who was auditioning as Pertwee adjacent. I mean, I'm really interested to know how they did it. Like I'm guessing that they sang it all onto tape and it was pitched down.
Yeah, I would think you do. You record all the other stuff, all the bands. Then you play it back slowed down and they sing along with the slowed down version and then you put it back up to normal.
Yeah,
but then wouldn't they have to sing in a kind of a slowed down way?
Well, yeah, no, they would just sing in a normal sort of way to something that's like slow tempo, if you know what I mean.
You ever listen to Delirium in Hi-Fi by Andrea Pop? That's just using, that's completely whole orchestra where they're fucking up the speeds of what they're doing and playing it back, and it sounds like it's the wrong instrument.
Let's listen to a bit of that. Get us that up. That sounds interesting.
What's that called?
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Delirium in Hi-Fi, Andrea Pop.
All right, let's listen to some Rawhide first.
Rolling, 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 rawhide. Hey, rawhide. Rolling, rolling, rolling.
That just sounds normal. We picked a bad one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. They were speeding some of their instruments up. I could hear the tone on it.
I think it all was. It was just like,
Hang on, listen, that's cool.
Oh, this one's good.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had some ducks, E-I-E-I-O. With a quack quack here, a quack quack there, here a quack, there a quack, everywhere a quack quack. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
It's like the normal song, except the voices are really high.
Like it's like somebody singing in a real high pitch. What will they think of next? That's even higher, isn't it? Get to the point, Pinky. Who was the leader, Pinky or Perky?
Don't know which one was Pinky and which one was Perky. It's a big mystery, and it's like Anton Deck.
The one on the right, I think.
But you know, they achieved some fame. They did some big gigs. They were a proper band, played live at the London Palladium. Did Ed Sullivan appearances and played with the Beatles.
Yeah, you know, the thing that's really interesting to me is they minted this high-pitched vocal thing, but where is the the yang to their yin? Where's the low-pitched vocal duo?
Oh no, it's not a duo.
Like, how come that doesn't attract the quid like flies to fly paper?
Well, that's HostileSurfers, isn't it?
This is the big question. But HostileSurfers didn't always do that, though. I mean, they did do it a little bit.
No.
Got into that a little bit too. But yeah, I don't think anything's ever made a career out of just
yeah.
Well, have you heard the slowed down Chipmunks one?
I have, yes.
Yeah,
I've not.
It's not exactly so, no.
Oh, actually, how about this one? Because somebody claims that what is it that sounds like an Egyptian? Is it Bournemouth Runner?
It has got that vibe, yeah.
Come on, Chipmunks. Sounds like normal people singing. All right, is that the end of that segment?
Just like the Bangles.
That's brilliant, Al. Is that? Are we done, or we got more?
Oh, come on, play Yummy Yummy Yummy.
All right, we'll end the episode. Yummy Yummy.
Bye. Yes, again, everything goes through.
Hold on a minute. Those puppets are not legit. They're nice though.
I know. I think they're just dancing around to it. That's all. But I couldn't find all the best songs by him. I mean, the version of Nazi Punk's "Fuck Off" is a classic.
Beautiful. We'll put them in the playlist. We'll put them in the playlist for you. All right. Well, moving on to tonight. First song up, Hip, is, if you don't mind very much indeed, is Bonkers in Phoenix.
Bonkers at Phoenix. Bonkers at Phoenix. Bonkers at Phoenix.
Sounds like Pinky and Perky, eh? What about Phil? What do you make of Bonkers in Phoenix?
Well, I sort of think about this song on different levels now because we had like I know it's like crazy, man. We had that original discussion about this where we were sort of trying to make head and tail of it, and then I think that interview with Smithy came out about it. You know, it's a festival thing. It's like a concept skit or something where you're listening to something at an open air festival, and then we had Ravy Davey on, didn't we? And his moment of honesty, I think, about his true feelings, the production on that, yeah. And then I've kind of re-listened to it after thinking about both of those things, and it still works as a, you know, I mean, I was trying to find the bit where he goes, you know, go on the left if you want your vegetarian burgers and right if you want your meat burgers, kind of, you know, there is parking at Glastonbury, Phoenix. So it kind of works like that. So I was struggling really to find a fresh way of talking about this today, and I think the best thing that I came to was a line off the annotated form. I don't know who's put it on there, but they've said about, you know, even all those things considered, it still makes you smirk listening to the song. Because it's, you know, it's just another piece of fall music now. It's not as horrendous to listen to. It's like much like the first few times you listen to Revolution 9, isn't it, off the White Album or something like that, or Interstellar Overdrive maybe. I'd put it in those kind of categories. But so it's listenable and it makes me laugh. But I'd really, really, really like to find a version with just Bricks singing her pretty song that's underneath it. I'm not sure whether I would be a big fan of it or not, but I would like to at least hear it in its own right. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this, I think.
That old version, as you pointed out in the bunker, is 30 to 40% less bonkers, but she's still buried quite far in the mix. But yes, I'm torn. Makes some of us smirk. I don't know if everybody in the room was smirking. Briggs certainly wasn't. Max, what's your take on Bonkers?
Well, I kind of feel a similar thing to Phil with this, where it's like, whether it's fuck you, Bricks, I'm going to piss all over your lovely song, or if it was a deliberate kind of collage-y, this is what it's like being at a festival and Bricks is the band, but you can't hear it because of like people talking about car parking and stuff. It kind of works both ways for me, and I think maybe Bricks was down with it. You know, I mean, there's this assumption that like it happened when she was out of the room or something like that. But you know, it might not have gone down like that. I like it. I think it works. I think if it was just a Bricks song on its own, it wouldn't really have worked as a full song.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And so it could have turned into something like Hotel Blodell, where you've got her doing a nice song and then Mark comes in with his random disconnected kind of rapping in between. But that was, I don't know, felt like that got a little bit old by this point anyway. I like it.
I agree that I don't think it's going on a Fall album unless something's done to it. There's no way at that point. I think she's just getting a straight song. She had the one with Hotel Blodell. That's enough for your career. Yeah. I know that according to some interview, or maybe it was in her biography, she did say that Mark obliterated the song by putting the most ugly vowel noises on it. But and it ground any delicacy, but I'd be interested to see if she ever came round to seeing, or if she was able to see from the other perspective that, yeah, part of him probably was just ruining it, but another part of it was like, this is the only way I could conceptualize a way to get this song to fit in with a Fall record. Might be giving him too much credit there.
I couldn't shake off the idea that it was, even in his vindictiveness, there was a bit of, right, you want to be in a band that plays festivals, I'll show you it's the worst environment environment to listen to music in, and this is what it'd sound like if we were playing it. Do you know what I mean? That kind of mentality going on with it.
Yeah. Ezra, what do you reckon to Bonkers?
Yeah, it's dead interesting. I mean, the first time I came across this, I was quite sympathetic to Bricks, but I do think that ultimately it's a bit of a turd track. And certainly, I think that if you're in the fall and you bring that song to the table, like, what are you thinking? Like, this is, I mean, there has been like kind of soft, sentimental stuff going on in the fall. There's been like Bill is Dead, there's been the happy song, there's been others, but this is just over egging the pudding so much. Like, I can't believe that she could have thought that like Marky Smith would have done anything other than what, well, The Fall maybe would have done anything other than what they did do with that track. And you know, I'm like, I want to counter that by saying that I'm an enormous fan of Bricks, and it would be wonderful to, if she ever deigned to join us on this podcast, you know, please don't be cranky if you're listening to this, Bricks. It's not impossible you might be. But yeah, you know, like, it was obvious that, at least with hindsight, that this is what was going to happen to that track. And I think that it's amazing. Like, I really, really love the wacky panning and the keyboards with the kind of like pitch LFO gone to like pure manic intensity, and Marky Smith just perfectly connecting the dots between rock festivals and concentration camps by saying vegetarian burgers on the left, meat burgers on the right. I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it feels like he's making a direct link to totalitarian systems just with that. So I think this is a blinding track. If I had written the like kind of insipid ballad that's lurking beneath it, I would be proud as punch.
It's interesting that, as far as I know, she, even though she's done a bunch of albums, right, she was extricated in a couple of solo ones, that she hasn't brought that song back, which, you know, it would be, you know, interesting for her to reclaim it and then to see, because it's a pretty song. I think it's probably one of the best ones I've heard her do, and I really like the lyrics. Veins on leaves, the cat of kings, and hour I've lost.
I wrote on my notes, this is the kind of song that Bren would like underneath.
Bren would write as well. And then Phil wanders in, ooh, naughty wicker man, oogie man. Yeah. Alistair, what do you make in Bonkers? Sounds a bit like Pinky and Perky at times, doesn't it?
Never heard of him. Who were there? But yeah, Bonkers in Phoenix, I really do like it. It's just like a deliberate act of vandalism, as documented in various books, and with Dave Bush on the previous episode of this. And I do like Dave's contribution to it. There's a bunch of stuff going on that I really like about it, because you know, you've got that really nice pop song that's sort of like with a big sound collage over the top of it. It's yeah, it's art, very enjoyable, and it could go on for a lot longer for the likes of me. Thoroughly entertaining.
It is art, isn't it, Al?
It's definitely art.
It is. Bush goes from friend to enemy. There's no way that, yeah. How long do you let the joke run? Not long enough is my answer. Yeah, it's beautiful, and yeah, a nice little song, and ruined in the most beautiful way possible. What else?
Can't think of anybody else who turned something out like that. Really, you know, like an established band. Mind you, having said that, Neil Young did that LP, didn't he, with on the keyboards, the electronic LP.
Trance.
when he sang something.
Good album, that.
Brave him, you know. Metal Machine music, Louis.
Exactly. That's what I thought of when I heard this. Michael E said, "This is my favorite."
You're right, though, Al. I brought that up. It is rare to get a mainstream band to do anything this sort of out there.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen often, does it? But the fact you can name the 2 times previously it has happened. I was like Revolution 9 again. I think that's another mainstream band having a go at trying to do something different.
Yeah, I think if you look
Duran.
Yeah, they're good.
They did well.
Was that Rio song?
I've really pushed the boundaries, I felt.
The thinking man's talk, as far as I'm concerned, the Duran Durans.
That's right.
They're playing at Glastonbury tonight, aren't they, I think?
Oh, are they really?
Beautiful.
I do like Duran Duran. I love the pop stuff.
What are we doing here? Let's
talking about Duran Duran.
Get on Glastonbury's, lad. Here we go. Right. You'll like this. Oh, you thought that was bad enough. You ready? Unbelievable.
Duran Duran have been like, what if we took modern day Van Morrison and crossed him with the Beastie Boys? That's what's happening here, because that's what sounds.
The sound of success. Now, I may continue. Michael, you said this is my favourite Cerebral Caustic track. The first time I played this track, a housemate came in my room and told me he knew how to fix my stereo for this issue. I was pretty sure my stereo was okay, but I had to try another track just to be sure and prove the song was meant to be like that. It does capture the experience of wandering around a festival. I agree. It's pretty good, and it's up against. Oh, what did you think?
I'll tell you. He's put shite. It doesn't add up to anything for me, to be honest. Just unstructured fucking about over a shit song. I don't find anything to enjoy in any of it.
Ooh.
He's in a good mood.
It's up against Hostile, what Stu probably loves. Let's have a listen.
They said tone it down.
Is that the original? That for some reason that sounds completely different to me than how I've ever heard that song before.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Is that a remix?
No, that's a
remix. Max, what's Hostile do for you?
Well, I'm really glad this was paired with Bonkers, actually, because this feels to me it's like the flip side of a coin, where it sounds like it could have been a Brick song originally, and rather than just shitting all over it, they've taken it seriously and sort of morphed it into a Fall song, giving it like the proper sort of Fall treatment. And I think it works really nicely. So it's kind of like, yeah, this is what happens when you get one of Brix's songs and you don't just laugh in her face, but you work together to like transform it. And yeah, I think it's a really nice, makes a really nice contrast with Bonkers for that reason. I mean, it might not have started like that, but it sounds like it to me.
Yeah, I think it did. If I look at the writing credits, which are obviously not very reliable in Fall songs, but for Cerebral Caustic, she's got her writing credits on about 3 or 4, and this is one of them. Rainmaster and Feeling Numb, which I think are clearly Bricks kind of songs. But yeah, she's got a writing credit on this one, I think. Hold on, is this even on what album is this on? This is on Light User, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you can trust Marquis Smith's writing credits anyway, but
no,
yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. But
you just have to count how many Hanleys got to know that.
He's got like one on Light User Syndrome. But yeah, Bricks does have a writing credit on this, which is yeah. Al, what do you make of Hostile?
Yeah, it's all right. I think it's one that sort of like sounds a bit like it wouldn't sound out of place on one of the later LPs. You know, the more pub rocky kind of sounding ones. Brix's vocals work well on it. Again, it sounds a little bit pitch shifted at times, but I don't think it is. You got like some nice progressions going on. It's a bit rocky, like, it reminds me still in some respects of something like Kashmir, but like with the surfy drums at the beginning of it. And I also think like with the production of it, there's like a kind of dubby element to it, but that's probably most of the reverb. But yeah, there's some nice drone guitar. And the Holy Spirit gets mentioned again.
Indeed, it's a theme. It's a theme. Beyond Good and Evil pops up several times tonight, but it's it's one that kind of sneaks through. And like usually I hadn't really paid much attention to it till this competition, but every time I hear it now, it has grown on me quite a lot. It's got a kind of mysterious catacombs, I can imagine it being this kind of religious, almost Gregorian chants kind of like going on there in the background with some something strange is going on that makes it not just a straightforward song. And I think I agree with you, Max, that if this was something that maybe Brix brought as kind of a straightforward riff, they definitely did something interesting with it. And the more I read about the actual content of the song, which is supposedly about a 9 o'clock service in Sheffield, something, Phil's grinning there. I'm sure he's dug into that side of things. But anything to do with shadowy cults and the Holy Spirit is good in my book. But Ezra, what about your book?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this track it kind of loses out because it's sandwiched between He-Pep and Spine Track, which for me are two of the highlights on like user syndrome. And I don't feel like it really, raises itself above the parapet, so to speak, with the between of those. But I do really, really, really like the lyrics. He was always in the middle for him on the fields, Brooklands. They said, tone it down. We all understood him, but he is hostile. We're the elite gangsters of the damned, criminals of the damp. And yeah, just that line, criminals of the damp. It's smashing, but this is something that I'm going to come back to later on with this episode, is that like a lot of these fantastic lyrics kind of get hidden in the music. I can't say whether those do or not because I haven't spent that much time listening to this particular track. But yeah, with the music, I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's functional. For me, it's functional for this track, whereas Bonkers in Phoenix is a rhapsody of rainbows and burgers. So
it's when you're comparing apples and oranges that this gets a bit trickier, right? Isn't it? But yeah, I mean, those lyrics are absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's a fall tribute act out there, criminals of the damp, waiting to be born. That's a deep cut, isn't it? If you can recognize that what you're in for when you go through the door there. They call us shadowy, anti-hostile. Many times, brothers, they have tried to discredit our gangsterism, and now we're old, the elite of the damned. As with most people, you'd think, oh, maybe he had some connection to this, but no, he clearly just read a newspaper article or saw something on the telly, and that's just Smith, right? It's something that had no direct connection with his life whatsoever, almost certainly, but he still managed to make something beautiful out of it.
This is why I don't really like looking at the annotated fall a lot of the time, is that you think something is like really mysterious and magical, and then it turns out to just be an article from the Prestwich Gazette.
For me, though, I think that's okay, because what I do get from it is I never get the depth of the lyrics. Like I never get, and I know the lyrics are always mostly just someone's best attempt, but I think it's worth the trade-off for me to have the Veil pull back, as long as I get some lyrics like that out of it. So yeah. What's Stuart think of this one?
So he's put down Hostile. Balm to my cum-filled ears. More LUS atmospherics with Brix on fine form and funky working magic. I like the way the keys are blended in and how it's all murky as a sound world, but everything is also somehow perfectly audible. LUS had some great production in places. Good shit.
Good shit indeed. Michael E. likes it. He simply said, this is another great track. We're coming down to the vote. And
can I tell you what I think?
Oh, please do, Philip.
So on first blush with this song, my first thoughts was it sounds like Sonic Youth doing Morricone or something like that. It's got that sort of epic soundtrack thing that Morricone does, but with some really lovely sort of guitar-y textures and keyboards and that. And I thought exactly the same thing about Bricks, although I've seen in some internet-y stuff that it might be Lucy Rimmer doing the backing vocals on this track. I don't know if that's true because I'd made the same assumption it was Bricks. So I really, really like it. And the more I listened to it, the more it made me realize that this could have slotted straight into that Joy Division album that nobody talks about, which is Closer. I think it's got that exact same atmosphere about it as a song, and it's probably that keyboard tone that does a lot of that. But so I know what you mean about the whole monk chanting thing. You can kind of totally hear that. It's got that sense of ominousness about it. That's there's something brooding in the background. There's pregnant clouds in the sky, and there's something about to kind of kick off. And then dipping into that exceptional bit of Detective Instinct work from Mr. Danny Noor that's on the annotated fall was really eye-opening. First of all, on the level that sort of Max described then of, it's come from this article, and reading this article and seeing the lines that he's lifted out of it, which just works so well in that kind of modernist poetry, just sort of putting lines that hint at atmosphere and intent and that kind of stuff in there. And then the more that I dug into what the article was about, the neo-catechumenate movement in the Catholic Church, the more that I found out that they were aligned with Opus Dei, which, for those of us who were involved in Hey Luciani, is a catchphrase in Hey Luciani. It's a bit of shorthand, isn't it, for conspiratorial stuff in the papacy and in the Vatican. And at the same time, they were pitted against the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, as it's called now. So this was stuff that interested Smithy a lot, wasn't it? He was really interested in this bit of history. So whilst on one level, it's from an article, on another level, it's like, I think this was stuff he was rooting into. I think he was rooting these kinds of articles out. It was something that he goes back to again and again in some of his writing, which on face value, you would just not know about this song. There is no way you can work out that's what he's getting at from just reading the lyrics of the song. So hands down, Danny Noor, yet again, great work. And I really, really fell into the rabbit hole of this song this week. I thought it was great.
It's subtle in the way that, again, a beautiful poem with Bonkers in Phoenix, which is not. When you get it's a joke, you get the joke, and then you're like, oh yeah, that works. That's a nice concept. That's joke. And this one, you don't get anything until you've listened 4, 5, 6 times, and then it starts to kind of starts to reveal itself as something a little bit more interesting, which is, if you just asked me this on first listen, it's easy, but now it's not so easy, is it? Maybe they can both go through. We're all okay with that. Why, you little Max, which way are you going?
It's I agree with you. It's more challenging than I first thought, but I'm going with Hostile.
Okay, nice, good. Philip?
Hostile, all the way, baby.
Ezra?
Bonkers.
Bonkers. Alistair?
Bonkers in Phoenix.
Yes. Stuart?
Hostile.
I am also going for Hostile, and I believe, I'll have to double check, but I believe Michael has gone for Bonkers, but it won't matter either way, as Hostile has 4. So Hostile does indeed go through.
I'm happy about that. There's plenty more to dig into that song.
Aye, there is indeed. Up next, we got Light/Firework off the Infotainment Scan.
Fireworks. Darkness. Cascading in the sky from 8 till 5 in the morning. Fireworks. Faircraft. Splitting Chinese sky, open Chinese sky at night. exploding trees at night over rivers and bridges. Fireworks.
Has to get those strings in at the end, doesn't he? Legendary. Alistair, what do you make of light fireworks?
I think that light fireworks is a lot of fun. It's all that kind of collagey, music concrete kind of stuff that's very likeable to me. Very similar to some of like the solo MAS stuff that we've covered previously on other episodes. But yeah, it's kind of like nice industrial, experimentally sounding. And I quite like the bit at the end where it goes mad and it just sounds like the wedding presenter jamming with him. And then Dave just starts going at it with his strings.
Nice. That's the cover of Legend of Xanadu, which we promptly put out in round one. You put it out with your integrity, didn't you?
Damn straight I did. If it's a cover, it's going.
Yes. This is actually, the whole song is actually a cover of the abandoned Perky solo album.
It's going out then.
Right. The dark years. It was a dark time for Pinky during the late 70s. Philip, what do you make of light fireworks?
Yeah, like I said, it's collage is the right word for it, isn't it? It's a bit of a mishmash of things. It starts off with quite an interesting experiment where it's kind of the flip of what people were normally doing with that kind of thing. It's like it's a sample burst out of something they're saying, but we go from the finished product into him sort of recording his voice down a microphone, and then it goes into that drum loopy fireworks bit, which I love. I love the lyrics in that. I think they're great, really. I love the fact I can't tell if he's improvising or reading it out of a notebook or what, or even if he's, just staring out the sky dreaming. I love all that about it, and I think the words themselves I've already said Dylan Thomas once, I think, today. It's got that kind of feel of, what's that poem about, eating the cherries that are delicious. And then it goes into Ravy Dave's kind of big outro on it, which is also fun. Yeah, I'm blinking, you'd miss it. So it's fun for when it's there.
Yeah, indeed. It does seem to be, light seems to be the bit at the beginning with the backwards drums and stuff. I'm not sure what those samples are. One day I'll get around to reversing it. I think they're just probably just drums or percussion. And then fireworks is the thing that it's only a small leap to make that into an actual proper full track, and it'd be decent. I think that's the core of what this is. Could have easily been turned into an infotainment scam kind of track, I reckon. But Max, what do you make of light fireworks?
I like the bit where it goes into the kind of club mix of Australians in Europe at the end. And I kind of like his poem as a poem, but the track as a whole just doesn't really hit the mark for me. It's the sort of thing that if it was on in the background, I'd be all right. But if I was sitting down and properly kind of listening to it, I'd probably just get a bit pissed off and skip it.
I think that's how I always felt with Infotainment Scan. I don't think I spent much time with this one. It's kind of like, is it right on the end maybe? And I don't think I spent much time with it, but I am doing this podcast has made me at least spend a little bit of time and see its charm. But yeah, it's got a lot to do against service. Let's put it that way. Ezra, what's it do for you?
Yeah, I reckon it's terrific. I mean, when I listen to it, it reminds me of WMC Blob, and it's like, this is how far the Pro Concrete has evolved. And I love the intro. It starts off so strong. I don't know. I would like to hear those backward parts forwarded, but I wonder if it's not just more of the Legend of Xanadu. But yeah, like the whole sound of it is fantastic. The part where I don't like it is where it comes in as the Legend of Xanadu at the end, which is boring. But like the intro, like light up a cigarette 'cause it'll be your last, and like we get all this stuff about the fireworks and fear cracking and night and all this. It sounds to me like it's a lot about being very, very high and coming down in the morning.
You say that about everything.
I do say that about everything.
Everything is about that, you know. Pretty much.
Yeah.
The dust blows forward, the dust blows back.
Excellent track for me. And you know, like the infotainment scan, I feel is like one of the strongest records of this period. I mean, some fucking ham-fisted lepers have voted out some of the best tracks off that, like Paranoia Man in Cheap Shit Room, if I'm not much mistaken, was voted out.
Gone.
Glam Racket.
Gone.
I don't know what happened. But I've been fighting for this album, and I'll continue to fight for it.
Over, mate. It's gone. Last one's going out.
They were probably knocked out by Papal Visit or something.
It was close, though.
At least it's not a cover.
What does Stuart think of this? This is right up his street.
Let's see. Nice little skit, but ...
Exactly. Thought as much. Is everyone? Has everyone had a chance to throw their hat into the ring? Cold, you can't control. Fireworks, darkness, fear cracked over rivers and bridges. It's fireworks, smoldering, splitting, Chinese sky open. Which is interesting because the Chinese, of course, invented fireworks. You're always learning with Mark. He never stopped. He never stopped teaching us, even in these later years. Croony, Mez, Big House Piano Slowed. I know that's the next song. I've already moved on. Let's have a listen to Service.
What age do you teach again, Matt?
That game. It's Mug's game.
Walked downstairs, got my hat and my corny brown leather jacket. The streets, grey and clean for a change. Must have been the rain. Thought transference. And this man who digs with me would put out 2 or 3 teeth and it's on the floor. Winter is here. And like yourself. Pull my shirt off. Summers. Kick the leaves.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ezra, what about Service for you?
Oh yeah, for me this is such a strong track, and it's incredible. The cheesiness, the televisual cheesiness of the music just belies the excellence of it. And yeah, you know, like this was one of the things that I was alluding to earlier. It's like he says, you know, here, where are we? Yeah, pulled my shirt up, Service, kicked the leaves, learning about time of the Wolverines, time of the Wolverines. And for me, you know, like this is like, obviously I could hear it on the track, and hearing it, you know, like I think about being a kid kicking leaves. And so the next line, learning about time, I thought was really beautiful. And so this is what I was getting at with the difference of like, when I see the words printed or digitalized on the annotated fall with what I'm hearing. But then when I get into the digital lyrics here, I'm like, wait a minute, he's talking about Nigel Farage. This is obviously precog. Because he's got his corny brown jacket, right?
Exactly. Yes.
I've got a witch on my left shoulder. My future's here. Now I will kick the broken branches.
So the broken branches is Rishi Sunak.
That's right.
And Nigel Farage is going to kick him by taking away what little share of the vote he had. Yeah, definitely precog.
Don't forget to vote, kids.
One who laughs at anything, and at my head, one who laughs at nothing. And I'm just in between. This day's portion, Service, brackets, you would not like it if you knew it, bracket, you would. Why you have tears in your eyes from infotainment?
Did those feet
so obviously about Farage and his fucking pound shop fascism.
So what do you make of the upcoming UK general election.
Bag of shite.
Which way are you voting?
Well, I would say that whoever you vote for, it's always the government that gets in, isn't it?
Ooh, none of the above, is Richard Pryor's line. But seriously, kids, vote. Max, what do you make of Service?
It's a beautiful song. When you used to so much malice from Mez, when you get ones like this where it feels like he's kind of really let his guard down, and it has sort of like really moving confessional quality. That line, winter is here, unlike yourself. I think that just sums up heartbreak so perfectly, and yeah, absolutely love it. There's a really interesting thing going on with the production as well for me, where you were talking a few episodes ago about how Steve Hanley didn't really quite know what to do with himself sometimes during the period where Dave Bush had kind of taken over, and he was worried that he was getting sort of pushed out by these sequence bass lines and what have you. But on this, I think that the two mesh together perfectly. It's like you've just got this really simple kind of slab-like bass, super low, super subby, cutting perfectly through, and yeah, this is like Dave Bush and Hanley working in perfect harmony.
I agree, absolutely. I think Bush restrains himself, although more and more as the tune goes on, he starts bringing in the synth horns with more aggression. It's like I said, Bush struggles to restrain himself in the second half, but he manages to keep it in his pants. It's
that same like really naff kind of brass sound that he uses on loads and loads of the songs as well.
And it's incongruous enough, but not as obnoxious as it is on the Pine Leaves that we've said, which works beautifully because it's so obnoxious. Whereas this is kind of like, you're like, okay, it doesn't seem like this is what the song needs, but it's not ruining it, and maybe it's actually keeping it interesting in this second half. Yeah, Alistair, what do you make of Service?
Well, I'm not a big fan of this kind of thing, really, but it's still better than what you order in Simply Red with putting out at the time, but it's just a bit middle of the road for my liking.
What were Simply Red putting out at the time, just out of interest?
Dog shit, I think.
Is this the Manchester triumvirate that always must be compared to each other, the Fall New Order and Simply Red?
Yeah, comparing to the contemporaries.
The three best bands from Manchester. Yes, silence, innit? What does Stu think?
I'll tell you. This is just lovely. Those house-ish pianos in a lovely introspective mood. The bass is massive too, and the horns fit perfectly. One of the best things from this era.
Beautiful. I'll tell you what Simply Red were doing in 1992. But while you asked, they were playing a beautiful concert. The full concert's on YouTube. I won't play the whole concert, but I think we owe it to ourselves to have a little bit of a listen to mix. A Starry Night 1992 concert. He's a beautiful voice. Here he is, mixed at his entrance. Ready?
I walk on stone. It leads me home.
That's what Mick was doing in 1992, and you know what? I think it's pretty much just the same as this song. So almost indistinguishable. What does
so you missed sorry to interrupt for a sec. You missed an opportunity there to play Pinky and Perky instead for a comedy.
I did, but I think
It's always had to say.
Don't encourage him, Max. We'll never get to the end of this episode.
The pain that I could inflict on Alistair by bringing Mick Hucknall back into the mix, he's only making it worse for himself.
You could see me cringing when he was playing.
Exactly. Something got me started. What can I say? Ezra, what do you think?
Started self-harming.
I think I've told you what I think.
I'll tell you what I think, though.
Yes, please.
Right, which is that I reckon Ezra's actually taught me on some songs on this album, because I think I was a bit mean about this song last time, about the uplifting piano that comes from Mr. Dave. But this was a proper earworm for me this week, and it was those horns. It was those bloody preset horns. I've been doing that all week. And there's something about winter that really brings out the author in Smithy, isn't there? It's the whole opening to this song. The line that always catches your ear about this corny leather jacket. It just every time he said it, I thought it's going down the same sort of way as like Winter and the way he writes and that, like it's a very literary sort of approach to his lyrics and stuff. And it's really, really sat with me this week. I thought that there's a real sort of cryptic, even more than usual sort of cryptic narrative going on in the song that I can't quite put my finger on, but there's hints at it in terms of, you know, getting home and learning to pronounce the word entrepreneur. I think there's perhaps a hint of what he's trying to get at there. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's great.
Yeah, there's a great live version. I don't know if you've heard it.
Where you can't pronounce it.
Yeah, let's have a listen. It's really nice.
Thinking of the fear I've had.
Dave Bush was actually dragged off stage at that concert because he wanted to guest. Alistair, what do you think of this song?
I've already told you.
What does Stu think? What does Stu think? I have no idea.
He's go on. Let's what we're doing now. We're voting.
Has Stu already told us? I'm not sure.
Told you. Yeah, this is just lovely. Heritage pianos, yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada. Beautiful. I think it's absolutely an amazing song, and it's easily going to win. But before we do that, I've reversed the bit from Light at Ezra's request. So let's have a listen. Now I know you think I'm going to do, but no, I've really done it for real. Have a listen.
You know, we can't hear that.
You can't hear that?
No, you're not sharing it.
Blimey, let me try again.
Well, I forgot in settings.
No, I was. I just don't think it'll work. Tell you what, you just have to imagine. Have a listen.
Oh, wow. Who'd have thought it?
Can't hear, can you? Oh,
add it in the edit, Brendan, and just pretend it all went seamlessly.
All right. Let's have a vote of light fireworks versus service. Which way are you going, Max?
Service.
Nice. Indeed. As am I. Ezra?
Yeah, well, you know, the inclusion of the Sesame Street theme tune as the backwards track for the beginning of Light Fireworks has tipped my hand towards Light Fireworks. I was going to vote for Service, but with that kind of amazing, like, what was it they called it? Sampler, Delia, Octatronic.
That's right.
Business, yeah, I've got to go for that, yeah. Sorry.
Third eye was squeegeed. Philip, which way are you going?
Well, it's a tough one. It's a bit of a 2-1 for me, this, but I think it's 2-1 to Service.
I see. Close match. Alistair?
Well, I'm going to go for Light Fireworks for all the reasons that Ezra mentioned.
Beautiful. Stuart?
Now he's cheated again, but he has most definitely gone for Service.
Aye. Michael E has been quiet on this one. I don't know what he thinks, but actually, he did vote for Hostile in the last one, so it was a bit easier than I thought. But yes, Service goes through fairly easily. All good. And we're moving on to the final showdown of the evening, which is Lucifer over Lancashire versus Bournemouth Runner. Let's have a listen to Lucifer.
Oh, you mean we've actually knocked one out?
I have.
Just got to say, you're playing the shittest version of this song that's on the internet.
Which one should we put on?
On the album.
Put on the remastered one. This is like a recording of a VHS tape.
I like the video.
I noticed that, yes. But yeah, the remastered Benson.
Still gone for the retro vibe.
Lot more powerful.
This one?
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you really is that the training that you must have in discussion at your own level regarding the existence of God is far greater than everybody that's ringing you tonight.
I have to disagree. I don't have any training at all of that sort.
To you.
Indeed, indeed. Alistair, what do you make of Lucifer and his visits to the north?
He's a frequent visitor, isn't he? He's likes Pendle, all that area. Yeah, I really like this one. Love the fears. It's cracking walking music, wicked bass line. That's the main thing that's going on it for me. Guitar's kind of like a bit in the background. Some cracking yodeling on there, but overall it's like really poppy, dead energetic, and it reminds me of like the Bangles quite a bit. Maybe mixed on, mashed up with a bit of whatever Shane McGowan was on at the time. But yeah, love this one. Brilliant song.
Yeah, that was the one that was flagged as Walk Like an Egyptian by some cheeky character.
Lucifer over Lancashire, walk like an Egyptian.
Beautiful.
Wow, uncanny.
Angels. Max, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, you got me thinking now. I might try and do another little mashup of those two for next week.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Nice, yeah.
I think it's a cracking track. It's testament to the quantity and quality of what the Fall were putting out at that time, that this is like a B-side that didn't even make it onto any albums. You know, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic track. Funky size, just like an utter human drum machine, isn't he? He's amazing. And there's loads of other weird sort of percussion going on as well, which is sort of not quite on the beat or something, but it just kind of works. And yeah, absolutely a fantastic track. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's nice. And that remastered, I've kind of strayed away from some of the remastered stuff because I feel although it's clearer, it might lose some of the kind of feeling. I know that's probably not true, but this one certainly doesn't. It's really nice and punchy in that remastered version. Phil, what about you?
Well, this is one of them songs that's grown on me, really, from doing the pod. It was one that I'd heard of before, but it's that rockabilly thing. It doesn't really grab me as much as you guys, I guess. But what I really like about this is how much space Smithy gives the rest of the instruments. There's moments where you would expect the singer, the frontman, to come in, and he doesn't. He lets the last little riff then before they go into the chorus, that he lets them do the riff first before he comes in, and then he comes in on the next one. And I love those those restraints that he puts into his performance that are very much like part of his style. I really enjoy that. And it's got some cracky little spooky lines in the song. It's some nice supernatural weird Smithy moments in it, harking back to his his interest in that kind of spooky ghost story and stuff. So I love all of that. It's one of the more memorable ones under the curse of Ben Sinister for me, where it's really become a bit of a favorite now.
Yeah. Very sweet indeed, and unbelievable that it is a B-side. And then I Fiery Jack, Lucifer of Lancashire. Those two for me, I always put them together, and that would have been an amazing single with those two concepts.
I always think of Container Drivers as well, actually, with that.
Yeah. What's what makes them the connect for you?
It's just the sort of like thrashy rockabilly.
Musically,
Yeah, musically, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It is great, and they could just turn their hand at that, and it's a wonky rockabilly that just doesn't sound out of place.
And the yodel. Can we just give a shout out to Smithy's yodeling ability? Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, we've both fronted bands. He's braver than I. You would have done it, but I wouldn't have yodeled like that. Committed to doing that as a live performance. Do you know what I mean? It takes some balls.
Godzilla, we did a bit of yodeling.
Yeah, nice. What are you saying there, Max?
I was just saying it's the sort of thing when you're singing, you've got to do this sort of, I imagine, some sort of weird twisting of your larynx, and you're not really quite sure what's going to happen. Yeah,
you got to commit.
Absolutely.
Basically, you got to commit. Yodeling was surprisingly popular in country music, wasn't it, back in the 50s and 60s? Yeah, it was the thing. Such a weird kind of phenomenon.
No, Al, is there any yodeling in any Pinky and Perky songs?
Don't know if they do one of them from Sound of Music.
It
was a stage show, wasn't it? They did the whole thing. Hey, so what do you make of Lucifer and his visit?
Well, it's interesting hearing what you chaps think. Like, I was, like I put it on and I was like, as it started, I was like, oh, this is again the rich, again the poor, and it's not that. And then I was like, oh wait, it's the yodeling one, but it's not my new house. So I came away with it thinking like, and it's a bit of an oxymoron, but I was kind of like, this is the poor by numbers, like it's actually a banging track. And for sure, like if any band played that at a live show, I would be, out of my seat for sure. But yeah, I felt like there wasn't enough to differentiate it from songs that are like better from that period. And that's a very, very, very much a quibble on my part. But yeah, that's how I felt about this.
No, I get you. It's kind of like we're spoiled for goodies in that era, that it's like it has to be amazing for it to kind of stand out, because I feel the same. It's like I love the melody and I really love the way it drops down. The chorus is kind of, everything drops out, which is really kind of unusual, and then his timing is amazing. But I'm like, would it even get on like a mixtape if I was making it from like this era? And I'm not sure.
Well, I think that's why I quite like the fact that some of my taste has shifted from doing this, because I wasn't that hot on this particularly when we first started this, but it's grown on me. It's like the influence of the banter as well, like Ezra's take on some of that period, that mid-period stuff that I just wasn't really that bothered about, but now I'm quite affectionate about.
So the voice at the beginning, last time we talked, I wasn't sure. And I went on Twitter and asked Steve Hanley, who wouldn't tell me. And then when I was looking this time on the Annotated Fall, Danny's now put that on the Annotated Fall. So the circle is complete.
It's Craig though, isn't it? Because on Middle Class Revolt, you've got that track Symbol of Morgan, which is another audio collage thing. Yeah. And it's got an interview of definitely Craig on John Peel. And then it puts this intro immediately afterwards, as if to say, look, it was Craig all along, because it's definitely the same person talking in both of those clips.
Red herring, according to one Stephen Hanley of Manchester. He says...
Oh, what does he know?
I said, who is Craig phoning at the start of Lucifer or Lancashire, or is it a secret? He simply replied, that's not Craig. But he has more to lose in this than we do. So... What does Stuart think?
What, about Lucifer over Lancashire?
Yes.
He says, a good old chugger with that lovely atonal screech where Mez doesn't quite get the interval every single time. I like the little jangle guitar lick in the chorus too, but ...
I already said that. What does he think about the upcoming UK general election?
You what, sorry? I was reading a message that had just come in from Chris Barrow of Wigan.
Is it about Lucifer or Lancashire?
No, it's about that video clip you sent me the other day of the relaxed cube.
Oh, that's funny, right? That's good. But
that's funny, yeah, that was funny.
It's outside of the remit of this album. But you know what's not? Yes. I have persisted in my aim to play you light, reverse, and I will have another go.
Go on.
I want to fall from the stars.
Well, we've all got 24 hours to live now. Thanks for that.
Fucking fabulous. And I was right. It was the Sesame Street theme.
Very good. Easy good.
Oh, it's like this show writes itself.
Now, what it's up against is Bournemouth Runner, a song about someone who nicked the backdrop from the F.A.L.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T Legendary post-punk band from Manchester. Their backdrop. Where did these guys get their ideas?
out to the Bournemouth runner. Bournemouth runner, cook of the day. Bournemouth runner, first night. Bournemouth runner, he was a Bournemouth runner.
And who, for a bonus point, is playing those poppy keyboards?
Well, this is what I wanted to discuss, actually, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was Bricks, because she is listed as playing keyboards on the album.
I think it's far more likely to be Simon Rogers, but...
yeah, I mean, that's the obvious answer, but I was always hoping it was Bricks.
There were some panpipes just mixed low in the mix, so maybe it was Bricks while he was off expressing himself in other ways. It's beautiful. Max, what do you make of Bournemouth Runner?
Yeah, absolute stone cold classic for me. This is, in fact, both these songs have got like personal musical connections for me because Lucifer over Lancashire was the first bass line that I ever worked out on my mum's acoustic guitar. And I was like, look, Mum, I'm playing along with this song. And she was like, I think you're actually playing the bass line. And I said, oh, great, I'm going to learn how to play the bass instead of guitar then. And then with this one, I used to play the drums along to it. And it was a great sort of stamina test because it's like quite a long song and it's really fast tempo. And just keep your right hand sort of playing that ride cymbal at a constant tempo all the way through. Started getting really hard towards the end. But yeah, the keyboards are great because they're really jammy in a way that doesn't happen very often, you know. And the reason I thought it might be Bricks is that it's quite similar to the sort of surfy riff kind of jammy guitar that she does in ROD at the start of the album. And I was hoping that she is so even more amazingly talented than we thought that she could just come in and like knock out the same sort of jammy surf kind of stuff on her keyboard as well. But I think it's more likely to be Simon Rogers, and her keyboard credit would be doing for something much less difficult on one of the other tracks.
Possibly. I think it's a relatively straightforward thing that's being played, but it does go on for a long time with that stamina up there. That would test a lot of people to be able to play. Yeah, I thought it is that it starts from that deep bass and you kind of, if you know Ben Sinister, you can be like, okay, I can see where this is kind of going, ROD, etc. And it's like, and then just on a sixpence, it turns into basically the Spiral Carpets, and which is not a criticism. I like it. And then they like. It's going along beautifully for like a minute or two, and then it just Mark's. They obviously know that when Mark shouts the chorus bit or the main hook, they have to stop. So he starts shouting, everyone just stop, and then they don't really know how to come back in, and they kind of fumble around for a bit. Si's doing some fills and stuff, and then Steve jumps back in, and there's sort of the momentum's completely gone, and then it segues into a beautiful other part, or back to the first part, and and I said I think it's Rogers on keys. They could have at least given him a solo. Nice.
Well, the whole second half of the song is like a keyboard solo, I think. And I've got to say, it's really nice to hear somebody jamming on a keyboard on a full song and it not be Marquis Smith, but someone who's actually good at playing the keyboards.
Yeah, that's always the giveaway, though, isn't it? When there's an instrument in the background, you're thinking that's been played pretty well. It's like, is Rogers around by any chance? Phil, what do you make of the runner?
It's a strange opening for a song like this, isn't it? The sort of doomy thing that they do for a minute or so. I'm quite sure what the thinking is there. That it's a bit sort of tongue in cheek. And then when it kicks in, it's such a bouncy tune. It's such a great sense of momentum that the riff gets, that it doesn't have to do anything else. It just has to keep doing what it's doing. It's like when you first learn how to play a drum and you're sort of bouncing the stick rather than trying to hit it. They get into that bounce and the whole thing just carries its merry way along, and I could listen to that for hours. It's great. And the only bit of lyric really that I catch hold of is when he's shouting Bournemouth Runner over the top of the riff. I don't know. I can imagine it being Bricks playing that keyboard. It's not particularly complex, and it is like the kind of style that she likes playing. Do you know what I mean? So I can imagine that being Bricks. It's
give it a
let's give her that. I've been enjoying listening to Bricks again this week. So I'm definitely on Team Bricks.
Have you heard the album that came out a year or so ago? Where she's got like the two women out of My Bloody Valentine in her band. It's really good.
I didn't know that. I have listened to it, but I didn't know they were in it. I've been Spotifying it.
Nice. I think I have listened to both. Has she got two? She put two out in the last.
The first one is with is where there's a like Blow-Del track on it. Part 2, it's called, isn't it? Which feels like drawing a line under the fall business to me. And then the next two albums are just solo stuff.
The one I was thinking of was called, I think it's called Valley of the Dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that solo Bricks rather than Bricks and Extra Car?
Yeah, it's solo. Yeah. I know there was one that was lost, like from the 90s, that was re-released. I'm not sure if it's that one or there's one called Los Angeles, which I think is the one that was never actually released. And they're both kind of nice if you like. They're definitely a little bit more grungy 90s style than the Blow-Del or the shiny things from Bonkers in Phoenix, but still nice. I mean, she's got a nice way with melody and it's Bricks in it, so sweet.
She can rock out. She can rock out as well. That's what I really like about it. I think the track Alaska on the Bricks and Extra Car album is awesome. It's giving it a lungful. It's great.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Alaska, because I think like when Bricks' stuff really works, it sounds like Velvet Underground when they're in kind of sweet mode. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, she has got the best rhythm section in the world in that band. So. The Hanleys.
Indeed, yeah. Alistair, what do you make of Bournemouth Runner?
I like it a lot. Yeah, it really reminds me of B-52s. You know, like Rock Lobster when that starts getting a bit mad after the quirky beginning bit. I think it's the keyboards and the strict beat that does that for me. But the keys also remind me a bit of the Monks. So Monks, B-52s, make your own mind up on that one. But yeah, it's a very energetic song. Not so sure about the beginning bit, but you know, the rest of it makes up for it.
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact you brought the Monks up there, Al, because I think we should pitch the annual Monk Off that we've been talking about.
Oh, good. Oh, good. More detours. What would this Monk Off involve?
Every year, we're going to do a one-off show, which is just the Monks album. Each track from the Monks album up against every other track off the Monks album. We will finally decide the best Monks track album.
What?
Nobody leaves the room until it's done.
What day was it released on? Do you know? Came out in 1966.
Saturday.
Yes.
Monk Day.
Exactly.
Monk Day.
But Ezra, what do you make of the song Bournemouth Runner?
I'm monking all over it. I mean, that concept, what was just motioned, I'm monking over that. I'm not monking over the actual song, the song that's called Bournemouth Runner. But when it comes to a Bournemouth Runner, yeah, you know, I can't say it's a song that I love, but I can say that it's not a song that is full by numbers. And it's nice as well because, you know, it's all about the backdrop. And as we all know, Marky Smith was a man who was fond of his rugs. And, you know, when you've got a lot of rugs in your home, sometimes you think, yeah, you know, maybe reality isn't actually real and it's just like a kind of a theatre setup. And if you swapped one rug for another rug, maybe everything would change or maybe everything wouldn't change, but nobody knows. And I don't know because I can't even fucking get up right now. And so, yeah, you know, it's quite an interesting song in that respect. And it does sound like the B-52s.
It does a little bit.
I hadn't noticed that before, but now you mention it, I definitely agree. Especially when it comes back in that break after that sort of breakdown with just the drums in the middle and stuff.
Yeah. Which B-52 song, Al, do you think? Which one? Is it this one?
Rock Lobster. You got about 2 minutes into Rock Lobster.
Everything sounds like Rock Lobster.
That one, yeah, that's the one.
Do you not think it might sound like Love Shack?
Science says stay away from
My tin roof getting rusted in the rain.
It's beautiful.
I like your hashtag Mick rolling that you're doing in this episode.
Don't know what you're talking about, but I think it's time for a vote, maybe. Or what does Stu think? Or something like that.
Well, I shall tell you what Mr. Stewart says. This is just way better. I love the Proto Doom intro with the fuzz pedals turned off, and it tickles me every time it kicks into that super jaunty riff. Like the best things on this album, it takes its time when it wants to, and it could go on a lot longer for all I care. The album goes up in my estimations every time I hear something from it again. Unmemorable? My ass.
Aye. No, this is a good one, but amazingly, I had once again forgotten what it did. I knew it speeded up. I knew that the beginning Do Me thing wasn't how it went, but I couldn't remember what it did. Unbelievable.
The Curse of Ben Sinister.
It's a sweet tune. And only the Fall could make something about something so ridiculous and bizarre. So amazing and catchy. So which way are you going, Max? Are you Lucifer or are you Bournemouth?
Well, I love both of them, but there's just such a spirit of fun and joy in Bournemouth Runner, especially their sort of keyboard jamming stuff in the second half. That I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I get you. I'm torn. I'm still torn. I'm gonna hold out. What do you think?
Like a coward.
Ezra, what do you
like
think?
A coward.
Ezra, which way do you want to go? Bournemouth Runner or Lucifer over Lancashire? Which way?
Being a brave man like Donald Trump, I'm going to stand up for what's right in this world.
Yes.
And go for Bournemouth Runner.
Lock it up. Bournemouth Runner. Brilliant. How about you, Alistair?
I'll pledge my allegiance to Satan by voting for Lucifer.
Indeed. Philip?
Well, I'm going to make Lancashire great again by going for Lucifer.
Indeed. And what about Stuart?
He's cheated all over the place today, but he's gone for Bournemouth.
So you see, what you put off as cowardice was really a play for power, because now I hold the sway of the future in my hands.
We get the leaders we deserve.
Do I vote for Lucifer over Lancashire and call it a tie? Or do I go for Bournemouth?
Toenail wall is coming along.
Do I go for Bournemouth Runner?
You'll never drink tea in my house, Brendan.
Oh, decision.
You open the door.
A continental breakfast.
He's a bad man. He's a bad man.
I think Lucifer of Lancashire is the best song here.
Hooray! All praise Brendan.
If it's a draw. Now,
Bournemouth 3, Lancashire 3.
Here is where I get the beautiful chance to explain to Ezra the current process. Now, we do go to the fingers. Now, should those fingers be equal, then they both go through. Now, if you're a smarty pants, you can make it not equal, but only if everybody else does the same thing. So, Lucifer of Lancashire, out of 3, how many are you giving it, everyone? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And how many is Stu giving it?
He has given it 2.
That takes it to 14. Bournemouth's got a lot to do here. So, out of 3, please tell me your score. There, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many is Stu giving it?
Well, he's given it 17.
All right, Bournemouth Runner goes through. Brilliant. And fun was had by all. All righty. Let's thank you, Max, for joining us. It's been a delight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hope you come back soon.
Are you up for the Monks one?
Yeah, I absolutely love the Monks. Well done for that.
That'll be a fun day, won't it? All right, and thanks, gentlemen. So next week we're not on. Got a special non-fall thing happening, so we will tell you more about that later. But there's no pod next week. We'll be back on normal service in 2 weeks. Enjoy the rest of your life and take care. Bye.
Take it easy, chaps.
Cheers.
See you, Mac.
Cheers, guys. Fade us out with a bit more Rickroll.
When somebody
Right, how do you actually quit out of Zoom? Never use it.
Listen to the
I don't know how to leave. Oh, the red leaf.
Raw talent.
Bye, guys.
Pig.
Right.
If you let me manage you like I manage Jason, I'll make sure you become a big star.
Hoping for the arms of me.
Can you really make me a pop star, Mr. Cow?
Call me Simon.
My name's Pinky.
Before I became Jason's agent, girls wouldn't give him a second glance. Now, he's bigger than a hippo's boxer shorts. What I did for Jason.
Oi, you! Get out of the way!
What's in the box?
For Jason!